Welcome, beloved soul. I am so grateful you are here in this quiet moment, listening with your heart open, your spirit awake, and your soul longing for the peace that only God can bring. From the very first breath of this message, I want to speak directly into the place within you that has been aching, the place that has questioned, the place that has wondered why someone who once claimed to see your worth seemed to forget it, the place that wrestled with rejection, with comparison, with the thought that maybe you were not enough. Listen closely, child of God. They tried to replace you, but God never allowed it to last. The world may have whispered lies to you, telling you that you were forgettable, that you were ordinary, that someone else could simply step into your place. But heaven knew differently. Heaven had already sealed your worth before the foundations of the world. And the truth is, no one can carry what you carry. No one can shine with the light that God has placed in you. No one can embody the role you were created to fill. Yes, they wandered. Yes, they tried to fill the void with someone else. Yes, they tried to silence the memory of your presence by reaching for what was easier, closer, or louder. But God, in His mercy and wisdom, turned their eyes back. Because you were never meant to be forgotten. You were never meant to be erased. You were never meant to be replaced. Child of God, lean in and listen. When they turned away, you thought you had lost. But what you did not see was heaven writing a deeper story. God allowed them to wander so they would learn firsthand the truth. Nothing compares to what He Himself ordained. No counterfeit can carry the weight of destiny. No imitation can reflect the glory of His original plan. They may have chased after shadows, but it was only the light within you that could quiet their restlessness. You see, sometimes God allows separation, not as punishment, but as revelation, so they can see the truth clearly, so they can feel the ache of your absence and realize what they once treated lightly was, in fact, sacred. So they can understand that what comes from heaven cannot be exchanged like a garment. Beloved, you are not replaceable. You are chosen, and what is chosen by God cannot be undone by the wandering of human hearts. Perhaps in their pride, they thought they could walk away without consequence. Perhaps in their pain, they tried to heal themselves by forcing someone else into your place. But what God has joined, even in spirit, cannot be torn apart by human decisions. Even if they tried, they could not sever the spiritual cord that heaven wove between you. And so, in the stillness of nights when they lay awake, they began to feel it. That whisper that would not let them rest. That pull that drew them back to the memory of your kindness, your prayers, your love. That quiet reminder that you were not just another person who passed by. You were the one God aligned with their path for a reason. They tried to replace you, but their heart could not lie to them forever. Beloved soul, let this truth rest deep inside you. Not because you need validation from another, but because you need to remember how carefully God has written your story. You were never forgotten. You were never second best. You were always the one. Pause for a moment and breathe this in. Let the peace of God settle over your spirit. Let the tears that have longed to fall freely. Because where you once felt rejection, God is bringing revelation. Where you once felt abandoned, God is bringing restoration. Where you once felt overlooked, God is lifting you into remembrance. And now, dear heart, as you sit with these words, I gently invite you deeper into this journey with me. If these words are touching something in your spirit, I encourage you to subscribe to this space, not for numbers, not for noise, but so that together we can keep walking this path of peace and faith, hand in hand with God's truth. Share your reflections in the comments, or leave your prayer requests, because you are not walking alone, and your voice matters here. And if you feel led, share this message with someone you know is weary, someone who may also be doubting their worth. You never know how a single word can be the hand of God to another. And if this word has blessed your heart, I humbly ask you to consider supporting this channel through a super thanks. Not as a transaction, but as a way of helping this message travel further, reaching other souls who need a gentle reminder of God's faithfulness. Together, we are sowing seeds of light into a world that desperately needs it. Beloved, let us return to the heart of the message. They thought you could be replaced because they did not yet understand the uniqueness of what God had placed in you. They thought love could be copied, connection could be recreated, and destiny could be redirected. But the hand of God cannot be outdone. The will of God cannot be overturned. The love written by God cannot be erased. So when they tried to replace you, all they found was emptiness. When they tried to silence your voice in their memory, all they heard was echoes. When they tried to run from what was ordained, they ended up running back into God's reminder. You were the one. Do you see, dear soul? This is not just about romance. This is about how God Himself affirms your identity. This is about the truth, that your worth has never depended on the acceptance or rejection of another. This is about the power of God to restore what was mishandled. This is about heaven's way of saying to you now, you are irreplaceable. So let go of the bitterness, release the fear that you are easily forgotten, lay down the belief that you have to prove yourself worthy, because God Himself has already proven you worthy, and even when they strayed, He made sure the truth would rise, the truth that you are chosen, the truth that you are enough, the truth that you are the one. Beloved soul, walk in this peace now. Let it soothe the ache in your heart. Let it breathe new hope into your weary spirit, and let it remind you that God's timing, God's plan, and God's love are always greater than human failure. Stay with me through the next part of this journey. There is more to uncover, there is more to release, and there is more that God longs to whisper into your heart. Because though they tried to replace you, God's love made it impossible. You were always the one, and no hand, no mistake, no wandering could ever erase that. Beloved soul, welcome back. I honor you for returning, for choosing to sit once more in this quiet place where the noise of the world falls away and only the voice of God speaks gently into your spirit. You have carried so much. You have endured the sting of being overlooked, the ache of being left behind, the sharp wound of watching someone you love try to fill your place with another. And yet, you are still here, still breathing, still trusting, still waiting on God. Do you see how strong you are? Not by your own might, but by the grace of the one who has kept you through every sleepless night, every silent prayer, every unanswered question. You thought the rejection would destroy you, but instead, it became the soil where God planted deeper roots of faith. Beloved, I must tell you again, they tried to replace you. But their spirit knew what their mind tried to deny. Their soul knew what their choices could not erase. The truth of who you are in God's plan kept echoing louder and louder, until they could no longer run from it. Do not mistake their wandering for God's silence. Do not mistake their confusion for God's absence. Sometimes the Lord allows them to search in all the wrong places, so they will finally learn to treasure what was always right before them. So they will understand that the love He writes is not disposable. So they will know that destiny cannot be traded for convenience. When they stepped away, you grieved. When they turned their attention elsewhere, you felt invisible. When they tried to build a life without you, you questioned if you were truly meant to be chosen. But heaven was watching, and heaven was not threatened by their detour. Because the same God who created the heavens and the earth created a path that leads them back. And when God says you are the one, no imitation can hold their heart. No replacement can silence their longing. No distraction can remove the truth. I know, beloved, that waiting is not easy. I know the tears you have cried in secret, asking God, why did they leave me? Why did they choose another? But what you thought was the end was only a chapter. What you thought was loss was preparation for revelation. What you thought was rejection was the beginning of restoration. Even now, the Spirit of God is at work. Even now, He is opening their eyes. Even now, He is softening their heart. Even now, He is reminding them of the way you prayed for them, the way you loved them without condition, the way your presence brought them peace that no one else could give. Beloved, lean into this truth. You were not forgotten. Even in their wandering, you lived in their spirit. Even in their silence, your name was written on their heart. Even in their denial, God kept whispering your worth. Sometimes love must be tested. Sometimes it must be stretched, pulled, even broken in appearance so that it can be rebuilt on a stronger foundation. This is not punishment. This is refinement. This is God teaching them to see clearly what they once took lightly. And you, through all of this, you have been learning. Too, you have been learning patience. You have been learning how to stand without clinging. You have been learning to anchor your worth in God, not in the wavering choices of another. You have been learning that you are whole even in waiting, precious even in silence, beloved even when overlooked. And because you chose to trust God through the tears, He is now preparing to turn what was broken into something sacred. He is aligning what felt scattered. He is redeeming what felt wasted. He is breathing life where there once was only despair. Beloved, soul, if these words are resting in your heart, I want to invite you to stay connected here. Subscribe so that we can keep walking together in these truths, day by day, moment by moment. Share your reflections in the comments, or even your prayer requests, because this is a space where your heart is seen and honored. If you feel led, share this message with someone else who needs to remember that they are not replaceable in God's plan. And if this word has blessed you deeply, I humbly ask you to consider supporting with a super thanks. Your offering helps this message travel further, reaching more souls who are weary and need peace. Together, we are spreading light in a world that is often so heavy. Now let us return to the quiet center of this teaching. They tried to replace you, but what is written by God cannot be replaced. They tried to cover your absence, but your presence was carved into their spirit. They tried to move forward without you, but their steps kept circling back to the memory of your love. This is what happens when God ordains something. It cannot be uprooted. It cannot be erased. It cannot be substituted. Even in their stubbornness, they began to feel it. Even in their denial, they began to admit it. Even in their resistance, they began to realize you were not just another, you were the one. And this realization, beloved, is not just for them. It is for you too. For you to see that you were never abandoned by God. For you to know that you are not easily dismissed. For you to finally believe that you carry a weight of worth that no one can strip away. This is your reminder to walk with your head lifted. This is your reminder to rest in peace, not anxiety. This is your reminder to let God's love define you more than any rejection ever could. And yes, there will be moments of doubt. Yes, there will be days when the memories sting. Yes, there will be times when the waiting feels unbearable. But in those moments, return to this truth. You are chosen. You are seen. You are loved. And in time, the one who wandered will be brought back into alignment with God's plan. Until then, let your heart rest. Until then, let your spirit be nourished by the one who never leaves you. Until then, let the peace of Christ be your comfort and your strength. Beloved, hear this clearly as we close this part of the journey. They tried to replace you, but they could not. Because you are not replaceable. You are the one, and God Himself has made it so. Welcome back, beloved soul. I honor the journey you have taken through these words, the courage you have shown to keep listening, and the tenderness of your spirit that still longs for truth even after so much pain. From the beginning, I told you this message was for your heart. It was for the hidden places, for the wounds that few have seen, for the questions you have whispered only to God in the quiet of the night. And now, as we complete this sacred walk together, I want you to rest in the fullness of this truth. They tried to replace you, but God made them see you were the one. Think of it. How many times did you wonder if they had forgotten you? How many times did you imagine them laughing, smiling, moving on as though you had never mattered? How many times did the silence convince you that your place in their life was gone forever? But while you were wondering, God was working. While you were grieving, God was guiding. While you were weeping, God was whispering into their spirit. You will see. You will remember. You will know. Beloved, do not miss this. Your worth was never measured by their ability to recognize it. You were chosen long before they understood it. You were precious long before they valued it. You were the one, even when they ran from it. There is something holy about being chosen by God. It means that no amount of wandering, no counterfeit love, no distraction of this world can undo what heaven has written. It means that what was planted in the spirit will always outlast what was built in the flesh. It means that the love God authors will endure beyond human mistakes. Yes, they tried to replace you, but every attempt left them emptier. Every substitute felt hollow. Every moment away from you reminded them of the peace that only you carried, the love that only you gave, the prayers that only you whispered over their life. And so, in the stillness, in the quiet hours of their searching, God opened their eyes. He showed them what they had overlooked. He reminded them of what they had walked away from. He pressed upon their spirit the truth. You are the one. Beloved, I know you have questioned if you are still worth waiting for. I know you have wondered if too much time has passed, if too much damage has been done. But I am here to tell you, what God ordains cannot expire. What God establishes cannot crumble. What God blesses cannot be cursed. This is not just about them seeing you. It is about you seeing yourself. It is about you standing tall again, not in arrogance, but in holy confidence. It is about you knowing that your worth has always been secure in the eyes of the one who formed you. Take a deep breath now. Let that truth fill your lungs. You are not replaceable. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are the one God has chosen to stand in a place no one else can occupy. Even in their wandering, God used the detour to strengthen you. Even in their silence, God used the waiting to refine you. Even in their absence, God used the space to draw you closer to His heart. And now, because you remained, because you trusted, because you endured, He is bringing things full circle. He is reminding them of your worth. He is preparing their heart for restoration. He is aligning what once felt broken. But hear me, beloved. Do not let this word only rest on them. Let it sink into you. Let it heal you. Let it restore you. Because before they could ever see your worth again, God wanted you to see it first. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are already chosen. You are not waiting to be loved. You are already loved. You are not waiting to be seen. You are already seen by the eyes that never sleep. And as this truth rises in you, you will no longer cling out of desperation. You will no longer fear being forgotten. You will no longer chase after validation, because you will know that you are secure in the arms of the Father. Beloved soul, as we walk toward the close of this journey, let me gently remind you again. If these words have been a balm to your spirit, I invite you to subscribe and stay close to this space. Here we continue to walk together in peace, in truth, in God's love. I would love to hear your reflections, or even your prayer requests, in the comments. Because this is not only about speaking, but also about listening and standing with one another in faith. If you feel led, share this message with someone you know who is doubting their worth or feeling replaceable. Let this truth ripple outward, touching hearts that need healing. And if your spirit has been deeply blessed, I humbly invite you to support with a super thanks. Every offering helps carry this message further, reaching souls who are weary and reminding them of God's unfailing love. Beloved, as we close, let us return once more to the center. They tried to replace you, but it was impossible. Because what God plants cannot be uprooted, because what God seals cannot be broken, because what God chooses cannot be exchanged. You were always the one. And now, both you and they are beginning to see it. So walk forward in peace. Walk forward in rest. Walk forward knowing that no mistake, no rejection, no delay can erase the truth of who you are in God. And when the day comes that they return, not out of pride, not out of pressure, but out of revelation, you will stand strong, not desperate, not fearful, not questioning, but secure in the love of God that has carried you all this way. Beloved soul, hold this truth close as you move into the days ahead. You are irreplaceable. You are chosen. You are the one. And nothing, no wandering, no silence, no trial can ever change that. Welcome again, beloved soul. You have walked patiently through this series, carrying each word like a gentle flame in the night. And here you are, still open, still seeking, still allowing the Spirit of God to comfort you. I honor your perseverance. I honor your courage. I honor your heart. We have spoken much about what happened, how they wandered, how they tried to replace you, how they eventually came to see that you were the one God had chosen. But now, beloved, we must walk into a deeper place. We must look not only at their journey, but at yours. Because God is not just writing a story of their awakening. He is writing a story of your healing, your growth, your transformation, your wholeness. Yes, they tried to replace you. But what did God do with you in the meantime? He did not leave you empty. He did not let your pain be wasted. He used every tear, every night of questioning, every silent prayer to shape you into someone stronger, deeper, and more radiant in His light. This is the mystery of God's love. It does not simply wait for others to change. It changes you first. It strengthens you so that when restoration comes, you are no longer desperate, no longer fearful, no longer clinging. You are secure. You are whole. You are rooted in Him. Beloved, I know there is still a part of you that wonders. What if they return? What will happen then? Hear this clearly. When God brings them back, it will not be the same as before. It cannot be the same. Because you are no longer who you were. The broken version of you has been healed. The insecure version of you has been restored. The anxious version of you has been wrapped in peace. When they return, they will find not the person they left behind, but the person God has been carefully forming in the waiting. They will find a strength that cannot be shaken. They will find a love that is deeper, yet no longer desperate. They will find someone who is whole in God, whether or not they choose to stay. This is what it means to walk in destiny. You are not waiting with empty hands. You are not sitting in sorrow. You are preparing your heart for the fullness of God's plan. And yes, part of that plan may include them seeing clearly, finally embracing the truth that you are the one. But part of that plan also includes you stepping into the fullness of who you are, so that no matter what, you remain unshaken. Beloved, think of Joseph in the Scriptures. His brothers tried to replace him, to erase him, to silence his destiny. They sold him, abandoned him, and thought they had rid themselves of his presence forever. But what happened? God used the rejection to position Joseph for greater purpose. The very one they tried to erase became the very one they could not live without. This is your story too. What others tried to replace, God has preserved. What others tried to discard, God has refined. What others walked away from, God has made unshakable. And when the moment of restoration comes, it will not be because of desperation. It will be because of revelation. They will see the hand of God upon you. They will see the peace you carry. They will see the love that remains pure, not bitter, not hardened, but flowing from a healed heart. This is why you must allow God to heal you now. This is why you must release resentment, release fear, release the ache of comparison. Because when they return, You will not want to hold them with trembling hands. You will want to hold them with steady grace, with calm assurance, with the strength of someone who knows their worth. Pause here, beloved soul, and breathe this in. God is preparing you, not just them. God is shaping you, not just their path. God is writing a love story that begins with His love filling you first. And if these words are blessing you, I gently invite you again. Subscribe so you may continue to walk with me in these truths. Share your reflections in the comments, or even your prayer requests, because this is not only about listening, but also about being heard. If you feel led, share this message with a weary friend, someone who may be doubting their worth. And if your spirit has been nourished here, I humbly invite you to support with a super thanks. It is not just support, it is seed. Seed that allows these words to keep flowing, reaching more souls who long for the gentle reminder of God's unfailing love. Beloved, let us go deeper still. When they tried to replace you, it revealed something. It revealed how fragile human love can be when it is not anchored in God. But when God brings them back, it will reveal how strong His hand is to restore what seemed lost. Do not fear their wandering anymore. Do not replay the pain in your mind anymore. Do not compare yourself with those they turn to in their confusion, because God is saying to you now, what I have written cannot be erased. You are stepping into a new season, a season where you no longer wait in anxiety, but wait in peace. A season where you no longer measure yourself against others, but rest in the truth that you are already chosen. A season where love will no longer be rooted in fear of loss, but in the security of God's blessing. Beloved, the time is coming when they will look at you and know, not because of pressure, not because of guilt, not because of loneliness, but because God Himself has opened their eyes. And when that day comes, you will be ready. Not because you begged for their return, not because you tried to prove your worth, but because you stood still, trusted God, and allowed His peace to shape you. This is the fullness of the story. They tried to replace you, but God not only made them see you were the one, He made you see that you were always enough. And now, beloved soul, as we close this chapter together, carry this truth into your days. You are irreplaceable. You are chosen. You are loved. And the love God writes for you will always return home. Welcome back, beloved heart. I feel the weight of your journey as you sit with these words once again. And I want you to know, before we go further, how precious it is that you are still here, still seeking, still opening your soul to God's whisper, still allowing His truth to cradle the parts of you that once trembled under rejection. In every part of this journey, we have spoken of their wandering, their attempt to replace you, and the way God opened their eyes. We have spoken of your worth, your healing, your strength in the waiting. Now, beloved, we must walk into another truth. What happens when they finally return? Because yes, they will see. Yes, they will know. Yes, they will confess, in the quiet of their spirit or upon their lips, that you were the one all along. But when that moment comes, your heart must be ready not just to receive them, but to receive them with grace, wisdom, and peace. There is a difference between love, born of desperation, and love rooted in revelation. Desperation grasps, it clings, it fears losing again. But revelation stands tall. It loves freely without chains. It embraces, but not out of need. It embraces out of abundance. Beloved, hear this clearly. When they return, you are not the same person they left. You are no longer defined by whether they stay or go. You are no longer defined by their recognition or their blindness. You are defined by the one who has healed you, filled you, and called you chosen. So when they come, you will meet them not with bitterness, not with shame, not with endless questions, but with the calmness of someone who knows their worth was never truly in doubt. You will stand, not shaking, but steady, not begging, but blessing, not clinging, but carrying peace. This, beloved, is the restoration God is preparing you for. Not just the return of someone who once wandered, but the return of you, your true self, your healed self, your whole self. And in that place of wholeness, the relationship, if God ordains it to continue, will not look like the old one. It will not repeat the same cycles. It will not echo the same fears. It will be built on something stronger, revelation, not desperation. Do you see how God works? He does not simply hand back what was taken. He refines it. He reshapes it. He makes it better than before. When they left, it hurt. When they replaced you, it broke you. But when they return, it will not be to the same fragile bond. It will be to something sacred, something forged in the fire of waiting, something sealed in the oil of healing. Beloved, let me ask you gently, will you be ready to receive without resentment? Will you be ready to embrace without demanding explanations? Will you be ready to walk in grace, not in fear? This is the preparation God is calling you into now. Not just waiting for their return, but preparing your spirit to receive them as someone healed. Because love without healing becomes a cycle of pain, but love born from wholeness becomes a testimony of God's grace. And if in this moment your heart is being stirred, I invite you again. Stay close. Subscribe so we can continue walking together in these truths, moment by moment. Leave your reflections or prayers in the comments, because your voice matters and your heart is seen. Share this message with someone who is waiting in pain, who needs to remember that God can turn rejection into restoration. And if your spirit has been nourished here, I humbly invite you to support with a super thanks. It is not just a gift, it is a light that allows these messages to reach more souls in need of peace. Beloved, let us return again to the truth. They tried to replace you because they could not yet see clearly. They wandered because they thought their heart could settle elsewhere. They resisted because they were afraid of the weight of destiny. But when God opens eyes, there is no blindness strong enough to remain. When God softens hearts, there is no wall high enough to resist. When God calls two souls together, there is no substitute that can remain. And so when they return, it will not be by accident. It will not be because you convinced them. It will not be because you proved your worth. It will be because God Himself has revealed the truth to them, and you, beloved, will be ready. Ready to embrace without chains, ready to love without fear, ready to walk into a new chapter where the past no longer defines the present. Think of the prodigal son returning home. His father did not meet him with condemnation. He did not hold him at the door, demanding answers for every wasted year. He ran to him. He clothed him. He celebrated him. Because restoration is not about keeping score. It is about rejoicing in what was lost being found again. This is the posture God is preparing in you, that you may meet them not with anger, but with peace, not with bitterness, but with blessing, not with a wounded spirit, but with a healed heart. Beloved soul, you are walking into a season of restoration. You are walking into a season where what was broken will be mended. You are walking into a season where the truth of your worth will no longer be hidden. And as you walk, remember this: you were never replaceable. You were always the one, and God has made it so. They thought they could walk away from you and find something better. They thought they could erase what God had written and replace what heaven had planted. But my dear soul, you cannot be replaced when you are chosen by God. And though they tried to hide it, though they tried to pretend that the void was not there, the truth followed them like a shadow. There was no substitute for you. The one who belongs to you cannot escape the truth of their heart, because what God writes is stronger than what human hands can tear apart. Every false connection only reminded them of the real thing. Every shallow attempt at love left them hungry for the depth they once tasted with you. Every counterfeit only made them remember the authenticity of your soul. Because you see, beloved, there are some bonds that heaven Himself creates, and when God creates, no one else can undo. This is why their heart could not rest. This is why peace fled from them until they admitted the truth. You were the one. You were never meant to compete for your place. God did not make you to fight for what is already yours. Your light speaks for itself. Your love proves itself without effort. And the Spirit within you testifies to the truth that cannot be denied. You did not need to prove your worth, for heaven already sealed your value. This is why every substitute failed. This is why every attempt to replace you ended in emptiness, because God had chosen you for a role no one else could fill. They were blind for a season. They were chasing illusions for a time, but blindness does not change the light. It only delays the vision. And when their eyes opened, when God allowed them to see clearly, they realized nothing compares to you. Nothing compares to the one who carries God's favor. Nothing compares to the one anointed for their heart. Beloved, take comfort in this. God does not allow anyone to truly take what is meant for you. He will protect it, even if it takes detours. He will preserve it, even if it seems delayed. And when the moment is right, He will restore it in fullness. Because what He ordains cannot be replaced. Pause with me here, dear soul, and let this sink into your spirit. Your place in God's plan is secure. Your worth is not diminished by someone's blindness. Your love is not erased by someone's wandering. You are not replaceable, because you were divinely chosen. And if this message is speaking peace into your heart, I gently invite you to stay connected with this sanctuary of words. You may subscribe for more guidance that flows gently from the Spirit, words to carry you when your heart feels heavy. You may also share your reflections or even your prayer requests in the comments, for this is a space where we carry one another in love. And if this message has blessed you, you may choose to share it with a friend who is weary, someone who needs a word of truth to remind them of their worth. And for those moved to support in a deeper way, you may also give through a super thanks. This helps these messages continue, reaching more souls in need of peace, more hearts who feel unseen, more weary ones who need God's gentle touch. Thank you, from the depth of my heart, for every act of kindness. Now, return with me to the message. Beloved, they tried to replace you, but each attempt only revealed your irreplaceable light. Each failed connection was God whispering to them, "This is not it. You know who carries your peace." Each empty embrace was heaven's reminder. The one you seek is the one I have already given you, for no one else could reflect back to them the love that awakens their spirit. No one else could mirror the depth of their calling. No one else could draw out their higher self the way you do. You are not just another choice, you are the ordained one. And when God marks someone as yours, He will not allow them to settle with less. They will always feel the gap, the missing piece, until they come back to what was written all along. This is why you do not have to fight. This is why you do not have to prove yourself. The Spirit Himself is your witness, and the truth will always rise, like the dawn that cannot be held back by the night. Be at peace, beloved, for heaven has already declared, they see now, you are the one. And in God's perfect time, nothing can stop what He has joined together. So walk gently, rest in your worth, and trust that every detour only leads them back to where they were always meant to be, with you, because God made it so.